Here's an idea. We want the Mayans to be right about the end of the world. So for anyone who's worried, I want to be super clear. The world is not going to end on December 21st. I'm looking at you, Rain. Oh, and the entire run of Cheers, cranberry sauce in a can, and Moxie soda, by the way. So for the last a while, there's been this idea that an ancient Mayan calendar predicts an apocalyptic event that happens this week. A black hole opening near Earth, a collision with the planet Nibiru, the sun baking the Earth to a crisp, and so on and so forth. Well, guess what? You're safe. And you don't have to take my word for it. Mesoamerican scholar and Penn State anthropology professor David Webster wrote that 2012 will come and go without the world falling apart, at least any faster than it is at present, and people will soon forget about this intrusion of the ancient Maya into our lives. Now, this might make you wonder, if the experts are all, nuh-uh, and say that there isn't anything that actually supports these doomsday theories, then how did they even become a thing? Because they're part of the zeitgeist. Zombies, canceling great television, doomsday movies, mobile devices, they are all part of the spirit of our age, which incidentally is also what zeitgeist means. 2011 had 4 doomsday predictions, and 2012 has already had at least 2. The Mayans are also in the zeitgeist. In 2006, Daniel Pinchbeck's 2012 The Return of Quetzalcoatl was released, and a slew of books about Mayan culture followed it. Mel Gibson's conveniently titled Apocalypto, a Mayan-themed adventure film, was also released. Not to mention John Cusack in The Limo, and I'm sure the History Channel is implicated in all of this somehow. Ideas about the mystical, magical Mayan calendar reached a kind of terminal cultural velocity, and some of us got worried. So worried, in fact, it was asked over 5,000 times of NASA's Ask an Astrobiologist if the world would end this year. They said no, by the way. Link in the doobly-doo. Now, I know what you're gonna ask. How did 2012 even reach the zeitgeist if it's a load of malarkey? To answer that, let's take a look at where this prediction actually comes from. So if you've read any of these predictions, you know that they're like, the Mayans said at the end of the long count calendar, there would be a rebirth of the human race after a cataclysmic blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's not really true. The Maya, viewing time as cyclical, actually had a complex system of calendars, only one of which was this long count calendar. They actually had a 365-day calendar. Yep, they roughly nailed the solar year because they were wicked smart.
Nailed it.
But they also had calendars which measured 20 days, 260 days, about 20 years, and about 400 years. When certain combinations of calendars were used, their periodicity allowed the Maya to keep track of huge amounts of time. The end of the 400-year calendar, the Baktun, was a celebrated event because it was the loop point of their longest single metric of time. And in Mayan mythology, the world began anew, like a completely clean slate, at the end of the 13th Baktun, a date which will occur again on December 21st, 2012. So where the Maya thought, yay, a new era, party time, we see, oh my god, it's the end of times, call Will Smith, Sigourney Weaver, Bruce Willis, and the Dalai Lama. We see the end of the world in the Mayan calendar because we're looking for it. We're sort of always looking for it. I know it sounds fatalist, but a lot of the Western world is built on a fundamentally teleological understanding of history. That's a fancy way of saying we think we're headed towards something. The rapture, the second coming, the restaurant at the end of the universe, or at the very least some unclear concept of the future. The Mayans didn't think of time this way. We crammed their ideas into our belief box because, as evidenced by pop culture alone, we pay ominous ideas tons of attention. So maybe, because in some weird way we want them to be true, we go out looking for clues trying to prove these apocalyptic insights. And we find them. The alignment of the planets on December 21st is of astrological importance. The I Ching mentions 2012. The sun's December solstice is on 12/21. Many other soothsayers have mentioned this exact date. Olmec said that thing that one time about the destruction of the human race on the Legend of the Hidden Temple. The list goes on. But consider this. In our vast knowledge of both the modern and ancient, terrestrial and extra, aren't we always going to find some correlation? With all of the stuff we know about all of history within the hugeness of the universe that we are only venturing further into, isn't there always going to be some alignment or coincidence or serendipity or synchronicity, imagined or real? In reality, the end is probably really far away, and if anyone's gonna cause it, it's gonna be us. We should stop looking for clues in ancient Mesoamerican cultures and just ask Nate Silver when the polar ice caps are gonna melt. But until then, if we keep looking for the end of the world, we're just gonna keep finding it. What do you guys think? Why are we so focused on the end of the world? Let us know in the comments. And if you're looking for a way to celebrate the end of this Baktun, you could subscribe. So I thought a lot this week about what Santa's special move would be if he were a wrestler. I don't really know, but dollars to dimes it would be called the sleigh ride. Let's see what you guys had to say about Santa and wrestling. To David Welch, I know exactly how you feel. And to anyone who doesn't know what a snipe is, it's this small black bird with a white stripe and a red beak that you can usually find like amongst the reeds. Tasty Barrel talks about deciding whether or not to tell his kids about Santa, and T-Bone Girl 28, I think, responds in a way that I agree with. That's how I feel. I think Santa is an important part of magic. That gentleman says that Christmas actually improved when he learned that Santa wasn't real because it gave him more agency in Christmas, that he could now be in charge of getting presents and, you know, making sure that everybody had a good time, I guess, which is, I never thought about it that way, but that is, I can see that possibility. Foden writes a really amazing comment about the ironic enjoyment of experience and Santa as a commercial entity, so we'll just pause here so that you can read it. To Jay Dirksen, this is definitely a new one. Heinrich Hertz had a very large forehead though. I don't know if, is it that bad? Is it that bad? To Druko Shinamari, this comment, what? We'll put links to a couple eyebrow GIFs in the description, so you can see those if you want. Ruling Tommy points out that Sinterklaas is also celebrated in Belgium, so thank you for the correction. To Soul Noodles crew, the Globetrotters are real, they're very good at basketball, it's just that the games that they play against the Generals are a show, like an act. Wait, Alex Had. The plural of Lego is Lego? Why didn't anybody tell me? I have been making a fool of myself for years. And finally, FergFan12 tells a story about how when she was a kid, she thought she was saving her parents money by asking for expensive things from Santa, which is some perfect kid logic. Adorable. So we're gonna take next week off, and then we'll have a short episode for the New Year's and then a full episode the week after that. So until then, a pan-galactic holiday greeting to everybody, and we'll see you after the apocalypse.